If you are sticking around town for March break, there's plenty to see and do that won't break the bank. The Fort York National Historic Site is having some special events for the entire family. These include tours, music, archaeological activities, and experiences in the old-fashioned kitchen. So joining us live now on Breakfast is Bridget Ranich, Program Officer for the City of Toronto. Bridget, good morning to you. So tell us, what is going on there for March break this week? Good morning.
We've been really busy all morning. We've been pounding sugar, our old loaf sugar, been pounding it in mortars and pestles, and we've been grating nutmeg. And these are two old ingredients that show up in a 1831 recipe that we're going to be making with kids over March break. So we're going to prepare this and roll our cookies in the sugar and nutmeg mixture.
Bridget, and of course you can participate in all kinds of activities as well as some cultural traditions around the world that are being kind of highlighted this year by Fort York. Can you talk more about that?
Yes, well, we have a pop-up music museum, and in that particular segment of our programming, they'll be being introduced to instruments from all over the world and entertained and learn more about various cultures and their music.
That sounds awesome. Bridget, for families looking to do something at Fort York this March break, what's the process? Do they need to buy tickets online? Is this free? What's the deal?
It's free. It's free. Absolutely free admission, and we're open from 11 till 4 p.m. And if you'd like more information, you can go to toronto.ca/museums.
Awesome. So, Bridget, just to confirm, Fort York is closed to the public today, but it reopens tomorrow, correct?
Right, and we'll be open from Wednesday until Sunday, 11 till 4 p.m. And again, it's free admission.
That's the best part. Thank you so much. Bridget Ranich with the City of Toronto live at Fort York this morning. Thanks, kids. Keep making that sugar. If you are sticking around for March break, there's plenty to see and do that won't break the bank. The Spadina Museum, a property that has deep ties to the history of Toronto that has been reimagined to incorporate the importance of diversity, is now on show. So joining us to talk about this is Alexandra Kim. She is the Spadina Museum Administrator and Curator. Alexandra, thanks so much for joining us this morning. So I've been saying it all wrong. I live right by the Spadina Museum, but I've been calling it the Spadina Museum. It is on Spadina, 285 Spadina, but why the distinction?
Well, it's just that's what the family always called the house, Spadina Museum, as you say, on Spadina. But I love the fact that just even talking about that is a really great reminder that it comes from an Anishinaabe word, Ishpadina, meaning ridge or hill, and it's a really wonderful reminder of the Indigenous presence of the City of Toronto.
Absolutely. I'm already learning so much already. So, Alexandra, let's continue on this history lesson. Talk about the history of the Spadina Museum. I understand that it was housed by, 3 generations of the Austin family.
Yeah, so for over a century, it was the home of the Austin family. But what's really exciting, if people are going to come down to us this March break, is we have this incredible exhibition, as you mentioned, called Dismantle. And we've reimagined the house as if it was the home, not of the Austin family this time round, but of the Black enslaved or freedom seeker, Mrs. Pipkin, who worked as a laundress later in her life for the Austins. And we have these wonderful new portraits. And really, it's kind of a what would things be like if they were different? So you get the opportunity to kind of think and celebrate that experience of members of the Black community in Toronto. Here you have this incredible piece by Gordon Shadrach, Scaffold, which shows members of the Raptors team. I think people might recognize them, lifting each other up. And that's a really important theme, thinking about the resilience. Or there are paintings like this beautiful bird painting that Gordon came, and he was an artist and was here for a number of months beforehand. So you really kind of get to see the house through new eyes. It's a really immersive experience. It's over 3 different floors, and people can come for a free timed guided tour. So if you look on our website, toronto.ca/dismantle, you'll learn how you can kind of come and visit this. There are wonderful works by a whole range of different artists. So the ceramic pieces. We've got a beautiful kind of new tablescape that was created by the ceramic artist Sharon Norwood. People will be able to see all of this. We've got portraits by incredible figures like more Raptors stars, Tanisha Scott, the choreographer. And then what we're inviting people to come and do at the end, which we know has been a really popular activity, is to contribute to our community quilt. So we're getting people to design squares that represent their identity. They get to kind of craft and create, and then we'll gather, anyone who wants to leave those behind, we'll gather them together and create community quilts from them. So it's really exciting. It's a lovely celebration of identity, and we're thrilled to have people here.
Yeah, I love that it's incorporating the diversity of the city and presenting this exhibit through new eyes. So I see the little ones there busy doing some crafts and contributing to the quilt. What else is there to do for your families and kids at the museum?
Well, one of the things that I feel we are really fortunate with at Spadina is that have these incredible grounds, and actually the exhibition continues outside. So we've got wonderful works of art by graffiti artist Elixir Elliott that people can come and discover in the grounds. There's a beautiful quilt banner piece that's outside by artist Morris Stump. So really coming and kind of having the opportunity to see inside the house with the tours, and then kind of go and enjoy the wonderful beauty of the grounds that we've got as well.
Excellent. Alexandra, remind us, what are the hours for the rest of this week?
Yeah, so we are open on Wednesday to Sunday, and the first time tour is at 12:15 on the weekdays, and then 11:15 on the Saturday and Sunday, and then we're open until 4 o'clock. So if people kind of check on the website, they'll see the times for the tours, and then can kind of come down and enjoy everything.
Okay, sounds like something to definitely do. Best of all, it's free, toronto.ca/dismantle. Alexandra Kim, curator of the Spadina Museum, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
And if you're sticking around for March break, there's plenty to see and do that won't break the bank. Nestled away from the bustling DVP and the Bloor subway line, it's a beautiful space that preserves the story of the abundant natural resources that have sustained the area for centuries. It's also hosting a stacked list of activities that's free for all. And joining us now for a look at what's in store is Lori Zuppinger, Museum Program Officer. So good morning, Lori, and let's just get right to it. What do you have?
Well, we've got lots to do here. We are a multi-building site, so we have 2 historic houses that people can tour. We have a nature preserve that you can explore, and we have a beautiful art show in the Paper Mill Gallery from the Bulgarian Arts Festival. But our home base for March break programming is right here in the brewery building, where we have crafts, games, lots of activities that people can partake in. So you can see here in the building, we've got a beautiful mural on the wall that people have been adding to all week. We've got some of our retro games that are going on here. So, for example, how about you guys? What are you playing this morning?
We're playing Leapfrog.
Okay, so we've got the game of Leapfrog. These are some of the kinds of things that people would be playing back in the days when our historic houses were lived in, the times we're showing here. We've got crafts, so we've got some of our, some of our winter birds that are present in Toronto you can make into puppets. We've also got the game of Barnstormer, which is always a fun one. That is a game from the 1940s, which is another one of the historical periods we show here. And then for people who really have their own ideas about what Todmorden should look like, you can create your own 3D Todmorden Mills and redesign our buildings as you see fit, as you see some of our visitors have done. We've got, looks like we're having our 1940s cottage redesigned with a beautiful hot pink roof. Lots of creativity happening here. Families can also go out and do nature bingo in our wildflower preserve. And then again, as I said, you can tour the historic houses and see how Todmorden would have been in the 1890s and the 1940s. So lots and lots going on.
And Lori, can you talk about sort of, this experience to a simpler time, free of electronics, and, maintaining and capturing the attention span, and how can people take part in all of this?
Well, you know, that's a really great point, and that's one of the big differences. When we do in the historic houses, there are hands-on activities that people can partake in, again, to try some more of the games and toys and entertainments at the time. And it's also really fun to talk with families about just some of the things that are the same, too, because you know, although the technology is different, some of the things we do are different, there are common threads. You know, at times like this, we want to spend time, you know, with our family and friends, and that can take the form of games, you know, time together. And it's also really interesting that both of the time periods that we show here at Todmorden are in some ways more modern than people expect. So going into the historic homes, you can see evidence of technology changing people's lives. For example, in our 1890s house, one of the things that people can get up close with and check out are some streetcar transfers from the 1890s. So, you know, that was the time period when Toronto was switching from horse-drawn to electric streetcars, and we're still using electric streetcars as a main icon of the city today. So in some ways, it's a more recognizable world than people sometimes expect when they come for a historic house tour.
Wonderful.
Our
Lori
1940s cottage
Zuppinger
as well, it's very close, so yeah.
Wonderful. Lori Zuppinger, Museum Program Officer at Todmorden Mills. Thank you so much. And if you're sticking around for March break, there's a lot to see and do that won't break the bank. The Gibson House Museum, nestled in the heart of North York Center at Yonge and Empress, and it takes a deep dive into the historic roots of farming and food in the city's history. There's plenty of free activities that await visitors. And joining us now for a look at what's in store is Claire Ricci, Gibson House Museum Coordinator. Good morning, Claire. So what do you have for us?
Good morning. Welcome to Gibson House. This week for March break at Gibson House, we are doing a whole bunch of different activities in the historic house. Right now we are in our parlors, which we have set up to play all sorts of different board games, historic and modern, whatever suits your fancy. We are going to be doing a couple of different hands-on crafts for children and for grown-ups who are game this week. We're doing some weaving. We've got our weaving studio set up. If you have ever wanted to try weaving on a loom and making fabric, this is your opportunity. Our stand-up loom here is a modern version of what you might have found when the Gibson family lived here in the 1850s. It looks much more difficult than it actually is, and it's a pretty neat thing to try out. We've also got some smaller versions of it that are easier to give a go to. We're also doing a couple activities in the kitchen. We are currently working on making some little tiny sheep. When the Gibson family lived here in the 1850s, they had a flock of about 25. So we've taken inspiration from that to do our crafting this week.
And Claire, I love the hands-on history lesson.
Yeah.
Claire, I love the hands-on history lesson. Do we need to, you know, like take a crash course before starting this, or do we just get to jump in?
You do not need to take a crash course in museums or sheep or anything before you get here. We will make sure that all the info that you need is on site. Okay. We have all of our staff are here to help you with those things.
Wonderful. And I know you said...
We are also doing...
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you can carry on.
I know you said, you know, you have things to capture the imagination of children and adults. Can you kind of tie all that together, like fun for the family?
It is indeed fun for the whole family. We are doing some displays of cooking techniques from the 19th century, which we all enjoy food, so that's always a neat thing to see how it works in a different kitchen than what maybe we are accustomed to working in. Maggie here is making some lovely scones. We've got a whole bunch here on the fire that have been cooking and are looking quite spectacular. We're also working on making some butter today. So something that if you are looking to do a hands-on thing you've never done before is churning butter. Butter is made out of just cream. It's the only ingredient that you need. I'll show you. You pour it right into a churn like this. You put a dasher on like that. So you put the lid on so that you don't get covered in cream. We wrap it up a little bit like this, and all you have to do is dash the cream back and forth. Many hands make light work, so this is a job that we encourage everyone to give a go. When it's finished, though, it looks like this. And then you've got, oops, a beautiful blob of handmade, hand-churned butter. That if you are crafty, you would put on the scones that have just come off the fire. So those are just some of the things we're doing today. But we've also got a really great hide and seek game ongoing, which is a challenge both for adults and children. We have a family of sheep that have been hidden throughout the museum. So they are in a couple different locations. So you'll have to have some really good eyes to find them all as you sort of travel through the museum and try out all of the different activities.
Well, Claire?
I won't tell you how many there are, though.
Okay, well, it sounds like a lot of fun, and, you know, I have to be honest with you. You had me at butter. Thank you so much. Claire Ricci, Gibson House Museum
Fair
Coordinator.
enough.
Fun for the
Thanks
family.
so much.
March break. Thanks a lot, Claire.